Guys, welcome back to the Bucket Think Tank for the round of Comic Chat. So let's get into it. We've only got 2 books this week, which is weird because had I known that, I would have skipped last week's and just brought to this week so we'd have nice 4-book lineup. But is what it is what it is. So anyway, let's get into it with the adventures of Superman Jon Kent. And we last left off with this story. We'd found that Val-Zod and Red Tornado from the Earth 2 book in New 52, had come to request Jon Kent's help in stopping Ultraman, who for some reason is obsessed with killing Supermen from different Earths. And so, this is important for Jon because he has a bit of a history with Ultraman, namely the fact that Ultraman tortured him for 11 years. Was it 5 years? Tortured him for 5 years. And, so in addition to the fact he's going around killing different versions of his dad, he also tortured him. And for a long time, there was no real sort of payoff to that. Taylor seems to be the only one that actually seems to be interested in exploring that or even mentioning it from time to time. But anyway, we come in here and we get a flashback of Jon remembering his years being tormented. And yeah, you'd think he'd have more issues with his dad with that going in. But no, if anyone needed to be in Heroes in Crisis, it would have been Jon Kent. Because this is some stuff. But anyway, there's this weird scene that I think kind of is unnecessary. But at the same time, a bit necessary. Lois sort of comforting Jay, like, so yeah, I know it's never easy when they go off somewhere. You never know when they're coming back. I've had to do it a lot. And what I do is I throw myself into my work. You know, I find a cause and I just devote myself fully to it until I hit burnout. And Jay's like, that doesn't sound healthy. I'm like, well, first of all, I didn't ask you, but you're right. So my advice to you is make him promise to come back, because Superman always keeps his promises. Jay does not ask Jon to do that. He does ask him for a postcard, and yeah. And then they're like, oh, we gotta go, because there's only a small window they have to get him, because for Red Tornado to find Ultraman, she has to lock onto his signal, which he only lock onto after he kills the Superman. So we say, we got him. He's like, can I say goodbye? Like, you should have done this before we left. You should have done this before we got here. Why are they here? So, yeah, they get there, and Jon poses the question, like, hey, why me specifically? Are there no other Jon Kent? Like, so you're the only Jon Kent that isn't a literal child. Everyone else, you either don't exist or are a child, and we didn't want to bring an actual child into this. So they go through, everything's looking good. We got the Phantom Zone projector. That's where we're going to put Ultraman in. You know, if anything, Zod... Oh, Zod's not in there anymore. Is he? He's not? Oh, Zod will have fun beating up an evil Superman if he was there, though. But anyway, all seems good. All seems great. But then Ultraman comes in and just runs right through Red Tornado. And then he traps Val-Zod and Red Tornado in the Phantom Zone projector. And then he gives Jon the bit like, hey, I remember you. I remember you. And the fight goes on, and honestly, in terms of skill, there's not much Jon can do to Ultraman. He's probably not as strong as Superman, as our Superman. But let's be clear, he's probably right up there. He's probably maybe a couple steps behind. But Ultraman has the experience, has the strength. There's not much Jon can do. Except, pull this power that he's been developing since the first issue of this story. So last issue, he has power building up. He's able to tap into it. He knocks him out. Ultraman says he'd never been hit harder in his entire life before this moment. So there's that. But the energy apparently he can't control, so Jon passes out too. Ultraman comes to because he's more used to getting hit than Jon does. And before he can go to kill him, Injustice Superman shows up, cracks his neck. I'm not sure if this was a Man of Steel reference, which I feel is a bit much. But hey, whatever. And then before Jon can say anything, Superman goes, you have your mother's eyes. Meaning that he does recognize that Jon Kent is the son of Lois Lane. And that's how the comic ends. So, how are we doing with this? So, is the Ultraman thing just this sort of thing we're doing? Because Ultraman's dead. I think this story's done. So, I'm not sure how long this event's supposed to be. Because it has nothing to do with the events of the previous Superman, Superman Son of Kal-El book, which I just... Terrible name, first of all. But is this supposed to be Jon Kent interacting with Injustice Superman? So what does that do to Injustice Superman in that timeline? because I don't know when is it supposed to take place, because it has to take place. Well, I don't know. We don't know. We can't tell anything else going on here. But how is Jon going to react to another version of his dad being evil? All right, is he going to agree? Is this going to be a sort of commentary on how Jon feels about how he's been doing things? Like, did he borderline go the route of Injustice Superman during his own book? I don't think so, but I don't know. Overall, it will be interesting to see actually, if you think about it, Jon has been feeling a bit off. Well, not a bit off, but a bit hurt. He sees the new refugee kids that Clark and Lois have sort of adopted into their family, and he sees these young kids having a childhood again. Jon missed out on 5 years with their dad, with his parents, and this Superman missed out on an entire future with his child, who he apparently dreamed of was a daughter, but whatever. It's interesting to see that. I guess we'll wait and see how this dynamic plays out. It can either be really good or feel really unnecessary, which is sad. Those are the only two extremes I can think of. But anyway, overall, interesting start, interesting way to go about this. I hope we see Val and Lois again, or Superman and Red Tornado, but who knows? I kind of really want to read Earth 2 again. Anyway, our final book is Batman 134 by Chip Zdarsky. And this starts off with Batman, in the bowels of the Arkham tunnels. It's called something else, but it's basically just Arkham City. Actually, it's Arkham Asylum. It looks like the Arkham Asylum game. So they go through, and Bruce sees that this place doesn't just hold inmates. It holds other people with superpowers, like Barry Allen's held down here, but he's not quite right. He's like, I'd like to let him out, but an insane Barry Allen? Nah, look, I'm already not supposed to be here. I can't have this one going on here. And he's met by Red Mask, and Red Mask reveals himself to be Darwin Holiday, a.k.a. the guy that Batman recognizes as the Joker. And you're like, so, are you really a problem even when you're not the Joker? Turns out, technically, kind of, sort of, not really. No, he explains what's going on here. So, back when he was, normal, he was a chemist, a brilliant chemist. So, okay, lines up. An accident happens in the lab, as you do, which is actually how everybody used to get powers back in the day. An accident in a lab. And as the mist takes him and he sees the multiverse, he also sees who he is in most of the multiverses, aka the Joker. He's like, oh dude, he's so cool. I want to see more of what he sees and whatnot. And that's what led him down this path. And yeah, it's actually kind of messed up. So he's going to flood the city with this gas so he can see more of the multiverse and presumably trigger the event that led to him being the Joker. He wants to become the Joker. He knows he can't just do it. So he's like, okay. And I was like, okay, so I gotta stop the gas, but first I gotta get as many people to the tower as possible. They'll be safe. He calls Mercy. It's not Mercy. Good Lord, Jewel. Who was Mercy? Who was Mercy? I don't know. But anyway, he said, okay, so Jewel, you gotta get those people to the tower. Catwoman, you gotta help. Like, look, Catwoman, I know you. All right. I know you're going to help these people because that's who you are. He's like, she's not my Catwoman, not my Selina, not my Selina. Well, she hasn't cheated on you yet, Bruce. So, yeah, she's not your Selina. But anyway, he goes through trying to get to that. All of a sudden, well, here comes Ghostmaker. And remember, Ghostmaker under, what was it, Tinian. Ghostmaker is pretty much Bruce's equal. He's gone under the same training as Bruce. And what's interesting about Ghostmaker is that he has no reservations about killing. He actually like, yeah, dude, we just drop these bodies and we'll be fine. And now, not only is Batman now faced with this equal to him, he's on Venom, and he's also still not quite at 100% yet anyway. So he's like, oh, this is going to be hard. So, even then, he's able to impress Ghostmaker enough. Ghostmaker's like, oh, God, okay, so hold on. Red Mask gave me some perks so I can call out someone here. He calls out, apparently, he's also gotten a hold of Superman. Well, not even real Superman, but Clark, I guess Kal-El? Because I think it's the same with like the Flashpoint universe, so I don't think he's ever gotten a chance to be Superman. But so Bruce has to pull something out of his ass here, and I do love it. Like, okay, so what you do is You make him think you're not human. You roll your eyes to the back of the head, put on the Batman voice, like, I'm your nightmare. And apparently that's just enough to freak Clark out. It's like, you know what? I'm out. I think Bruce is like, I can't believe that worked. Won't complain. So he goes through, tries to stop the gas. As it starts to spread, Catwoman does help Jewel out, like Bruce said. Alfred tries to get Leslie to come down to the tower where she'll be safe, but Leslie, being Leslie, like, no, I'm not leaving these patients. And after a tense battle with Ghostmaker, he's able to pull the switch, stop the gas. But Red Mask's like, no, I had another plan, because I know that's Batman. And the plan is to use Man-Bats to go and deliver the gas. I'm like, oh. Hacks, but okay. Makes sense. I mean, if you've already kidnapped a Kryptonian, a speedster, you probably also have Man-Bat. Just makes the most sense. And that's how this issue ends. So, ultimately, this might be... How do I feel about this issue? This issue is alright. I'm kind of a bit down that this ended up just being a story with a Joker, the Joker, Darwin Holiday. It's interesting that he sees the Joker. It seems that he could be the Joker, like, you know what? I totally want to do that. Like, he reads and like, oh, it's like, you know, being a kid is when you want to be Batman. Being an adult is when you realize the Joker's right. I'm like, well, no, this is apparently is that character. So, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's interesting to see Batman trying to sort of, or Bruce in this case, trying to balance out, you know, his expectations of this world from the reality of it. Like, he knows that this isn't his Selena Kyle, this isn't his Catwoman, but he's pretty sure that it's still at her core the same person that is Selena Kyle. Punchline is still here, which is weird. Jewel being the Robin-esque, sort of Oracle-esque figure, I think is interesting. But what's interesting to see Ghostmaker still here, but he's clearly not the same person. Like, I don't see Ghostmaker working for these people. But, again, it's a fun little twist because they should be similar but different. So maybe Ghostmaker does work with Red Mask because he does see, like, hey, this is the best possible route to doing it. Or maybe he just needs the cash. Who knows? Ultimately, it's an alright issue, but not an amazing issue. Really, I think this story hasn't really lived up to the same peak that it had with the Failsafe one, but I think that's because we had such a huge standoff with this invincible robot, and now we're back in the sort of more intimate story, and I think we have to tell you, like, the idea is Bruce seeing this world without Batman. To sort of, I guess that's Failsafe's plan, is to remind, like, hey, look, this is what happens when there isn't someone who holds to the same ideals as Batman. But who knows? So with that, my brings me to close. If you are new to the Bucket Think Tank, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. Check out my videos, and I'll catch you all later. This is Bucket Think Tank signing off. Thanks for watching. As always, may your fandom serve you well. I don't know what that thumbs up thing was.